pass, but yet they still just pound and pound away, and then when he needs to make one big play, he goes out and hits Decker for that 60-yard bomb that just puts the knife in the throat of the Chiefs. It's unbelievable.
And John Elway's just got to be sitting up there in the press box just giggling throughout all these games. He's going to... The guy who, in my opinion, the greatest quarterback of all time, sitting there with a quarterback who can't throw the ball. Granted, pretty good throw on the one to Decker down the sideline for the touchdown. His other completion, a 12-yarder to Matt Willis over the middle that I think was a bubble. But I know I told you yesterday his quarterback rating, 102.6. His ESPN sabermetric total QBR, whatever you want to call it, 73.3. So if you look at it from that term, he had a great game. And I think he did have a pretty good game, but it just cracks me up when McGahee goes down. He'll be back Thursday. Noshan goes down for the season. Then they carry it 6 times in a row with Lance Ball. So they bring him out. He's tired. Throw Spencer Larson, the fullback, back there as a tailback. Hand it off to him. Why not?
Well, you mentioned the sabermetric type.
And that's not me endorsing that stat. No, I completely disagree with quarterback rating.
It's something where you watch a guy play and you could tell. I mean, you could tell by the throws. You could tell by the spiral how good he really is.
And that's what we mentioned yesterday. We said that you can't do sabermetrics with football. But if there was one Sunday where you're ever going to use it, it was yesterday.
All right, well, we'll come back to Tebow. We're going to open up the phone lines real quick here. 5:31, halfway through the program here. Cheap Shots on Minds Internet Radio, and my favorite caller to the show, my little brother Jack. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. Just hanging out. But since you guys are talking about the Broncos and Tebow, I think it's really funny how all the critics out there are talking about how terrible the Broncos are, or not, like how bad of a decision it is to run the option with Tebow. And I find that funny because I happen to think Tebow is kind of like the best the best option quarterback that I've ever seen in my lifetime, at least. And I feel like if that's what works best for them with that kind of quarterback in that situation, why not run it? And also, now that the Chiefs have pretty much lost Castle for the whole season with hand surgery, and the Chargers just not doing good, could the Broncos end up winning this division?
Thanks for the call, Jack. And I agree with his option. I mean, the option isn't something that should work in the NFL, and we're seeing Tebow run not only like a double speed option, but a triple option. I mean, granted from the shotgun, but it's just unbelievable how he can make this stuff work when everybody should know it's coming. I mean, what else is he going to do? He's going to pass the ball?
I think they do know it's coming. I don't want to go negative and say that it's not going to work for the rest of the year, but I think that the window that they have to get away with this is rapidly shrinking, because I think they got a tough part of the schedule coming up. They got the Jets D in there and the Bears D. Those guys aren't going to overplay and miss their assignments like the Chiefs and the Raiders did, and that's what opened those huge holes. But on the other hand, I love it. Keep doing it. Under 10 pass attempts a game for him for the rest of the season, fine with me.
This Thursday against the Jets will be very telling. The Broncos are 4.5 point underdogs, and if they can do what they did against the Chiefs, against the Jets in prime time on national television, that'll be the true telling sign of whether or not this stuff is actually going to work. But
the big question: what kind of gear is Foro going to wear to that game?
Well, there's too much. There's too much invested in this to even get into it, because who knows? 4.5 point underdog to wear the Denver stuff too? No, you're just gonna go and.
I have to make my stand here on the radio.
Please. Hold on. Let me just. You can make
go
your.
ahead.
You can make your statement.
Audience.
I'll prep it and I'll try and be unbiased as possible. But our producer Kevin is a very big fan of both the Jets and the Broncos, so he finds himself torn with this game on Thursday whether or not to root for the Jets or the Broncos. So we've been pressuring him for the past couple weeks at least as to what type of gear he's going to wear, because you have to support one of the teams, right? Or are you just going to go in with?
Well, yeah. You can't really. What you're saying is split your support in between both your teams, but standing as it is, we're going to be at the game. We're going to be at the game on Thursday. sitting first section, hopefully, but we're going to find out. But if I were sitting at home and I was watching this game, I would be, typically, I'm not a big gear guy, but if I had to choose a gear to wear, I'd be wearing my Jets gear. But I'm going to be in Mile High. I'm going to be there watching the Broncos, and they're on this miraculous little swing we're seeing, and I love what John Elway's doing, and just the turnaround from Josh McDaniels is just, it's got me back into feeling good about being a Broncos fan again. So I'm going in Broncos gear.
Well, kind of what we expect.
Yeah, no, that is what we expected.
I guess we'll probably still be talking about this while it's on my mind and before I forget, if Tebow's now 3-1 as a starter
this season.
Okay, 3-1 as a starter this season. There's 3, 6, 7 games remaining. Say he splits that and goes, what would that be? 8-4? Or no, 6-4, 7-4, whatever. He has a winning record, and the Broncos make the playoffs. He's got to be the quarterback for the future, right? At least for another year or two.
Yes, but you still draft a quarterback next year's draft.
So even though you
not
took
in the first
Tebow
round,
in the first round,
but you take a quarterback.
So you take a guy to put some pressure on Tebow and say, you're just here for.
Yeah,
we don't really believe in you
don't. No, you take a quarterback because you have a quarterback who runs the option. Obviously, there's a lot of
playoffs. Who wins?
No, I'm not saying you take a quarterback and you play him, but I'm saying you have Brady Quinn not on contract for next year. You have Kyle Orton not on contract for next season. Obviously, John Elway and John Fox still don't have 100% faith that he can be the quarterback of the future. They're willing to let this hot streak, whatever you want to call it, ride out as long as they can, and I'm sure they will. And if it leads to the playoffs, so be it. Everyone in Denver will be excited. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to take a quarterback to at least back him up for next year and then reevaluate the situation 2 years later.
Why does this have to be a quarterback that you? I mean, you have your young guy. Why don't you spend a little more than the league minimum and get like a Tyler Thigpen type low tier guy that's a good career backup that can come in if Tebow implodes? But why draft a rookie and put pressure on him?
They're not still certain that he's going to be the long-term guy. Yeah, the option thing, it works this year.
How long does the test go on?
You're still taking a guy. Look at, the option, it's working now. Beautifully, as we saw yesterday. Even if it works for the rest of the season, perfect. If it works into the playoffs, great. You don't think NFL defensive coordinators and head coaches with 6 months to sit around on their couches and watch film aren't going to figure out how to defend this kid? And I think his passing skills are that far below the league average that if defenses figure them out, he's a worthless commodity to this team. Right now, that's not the case, but I think you have to take a quarterback in next year's draft just to prepare for that situation. I'm not giving credit to Tebow, but I'm giving credit to NFL defenses. I think there's a reason that we haven't seen the triple option work for 30 years in the NFL. And I don't think, as much as I like Tim Tebow, and I think what he's doing right now amazes me, I don't think that he's going to be the singular guy that's going to change that trend in the NFL.
I think you should get another guy, but I don't. If Tebow gets you to the playoffs, he's clearly a capable quarterback. I think the guy deserves another shot.
I'm not saying draft a quarterback and play him. I'm just saying you get another guy on the roster.
Draft it's when you have Peyton Manning or Tom Brady and you get an opportunity to take a guy like Mallett or a guy like Luck. Okay, I mean that you can justify that, but how questionable Tebow's been and everybody's opinion on him. You're going to in 2 years removed from taking a quarterback in the first round that just got you to the playoffs. You're going to go and already draft another quarterback, say in the 4th or 5th round, or even we've even seen sites with Tannehill in the 2nd. It just puts. I think that just sends out the wrong message of what's the point. What's the point of putting a guy out there and having him win games and lead your team? Everybody loves him. What's the point if it's just not worth anything?
I think the biggest point is that John Fox and John Elway still don't love him. They're not completely enamored.
They're going to love
him
if he gets into the playoffs.
They will, but I think they have a vision for this team that, yes, if he can win, you leave him in there. But I think they're going to hedge their bet and take a guy in the 2nd round, in the 3rd round, a guy like Tannehill. There's a bunch of names out there. It's a very deep quarterback class. They're going to take that guy because they can, and they'll bill it as an insurance policy because Tebow likes to run, and we all saw what happened to Vic on Sunday, running quarterbacks get hurt more than pocket quarterbacks. So I think that will be their justification for it, and I think that